Okay, so we scroll through them every single day, right? They influence what we buy, how we think, pretty much everything. But have you ever actually stopped and wondered, where did the blog even come from? It feels like it's just always been a part of the internet. But nope. Its origin story is actually this amazing tale of digital pioneers and a tech revolution that totally changed the game.
Let's start with a number that is just kind of hard to wrap your head around. Over 600 million. That's the best guess for how many public blogs are out there on the internet right now. To put that in perspective, that's almost one blog for every person in the entire Western Hemisphere. It's not just a part of the internet, it's this massive living library of human thought, and it's growing every second.
So, that big number just begs the question, doesn't it? Where in the world did this media giant come from? And when we say the word blog, what are we even talking about? Let's nail down a definition, and then let's trace it all the way back to the beginning.
All right, first things first. Before we can get into the wild history, we have to be on the same page. We need the blueprint. What is it, at its very core, that makes a blog a blog?
You know, at its heart, the definition is surprisingly simple. Blog is really just a shortened, catchier version of weblog. And its defining feature, its DNA, is that it works just like a diary. The newest entry is always right at the top, and then you scroll down to go back in time. That one little design choice, reverse chronological order, is literally the foundation for everything that came after.
Okay, now for the fun part, the origin story. Today, we just click publish and don't think twice. But back in the early days of the web, oh man, getting your thoughts online was a completely different world. The jump from weblog to blog isn't just about a name change. It's the story of a revolution that blew the doors of the internet wide open for everyone.
So here's how it all went down. Back in 1994, this college student, Justin Hall, starts what many people now call the very first personal blog. Pretty cool, right? Then, in 1997, a guy named Jorn Barger comes up with the term weblog because he was literally logging the web. Then things speed up. In 1999, Peter Merholtz is joking around and shortens it to just blog. And boom, that same year, platforms like Blogger launch and the floodgates just open. The word blog and the idea of being a blogger went totally mainstream.
But here's the thing, and this is the most important part of the story. The real revolution wasn't the catchy new name. Not at all. It was the technology simmering underneath it that completely changed who was allowed to have a voice online.
And this is that revolution. See, back in the weblog days, you basically had to be a tech wizard. You had to manually code every post in HTML, then use this clunky thing called FTP to upload it. It was a huge wall for anyone who wasn't the programmer. But then came the blog revolution, and it just tore that wall down. All of a sudden, you had simple software right in your browser. If you could type an email, you could publish a blog post. The web was suddenly open to millions of new people with stories to tell.
So, with the tech making it easy for anyone to participate, the stage was set for an absolute explosion. Blogs went from being these quiet, personal online diaries to a powerful new form of media. They all started connecting to each other, creating this massive ecosystem we started calling the blogosphere.
And the engine that powered this whole thing was a little piece of tech called RSS, which stands for Really Simple Syndication. The best way to think about it is like your own personal newspaper delivery service for the internet. Instead of having to visit 50 different websites every day to see if they updated, you could just subscribe to them. Then this one app would bring all the new posts from all your favorite blogs right to you. It's what turned all those individual islands into a connected continent. And once these bloggers had a reliable way to build and reach an audience, well, they started to flex their muscles. They realized they could investigate things and amplify stories in ways that the traditional media either couldn't or wouldn't. And this new power had very real consequences. In 2002, it was bloggers who dug up some really controversial comments by the Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott, comments the big media outlets had totally missed. The pressure forced him to resign. Then, a couple of years later, in a scandal that got called Rathergate, the blogosphere worked together to prove that documents used in a huge CBS News report were actually forgeries. Blogs weren't just diaries anymore. They were a serious check on power.
The influence of blogs got so big that it became part of the national political debate. By 2009, even the President of the United States, Barack Obama, was talking about it. He acknowledged their incredible power, but he also cautioned about the responsibility that comes with it. Think about that. These digital upstarts that started in dorm rooms were now being discussed in the Oval Office.
Okay, so we've gone from a college kid's diary all the way to the White House. Let's switch gears from the history to the here and now.
How has all of this shaped the way we actually write for the web today? What does it take to create a blog post that people will actually read?
I'm going to let you in on the secret to all modern online writing. You ready? Here it is. People don't read online. They scan. Scientific eye-tracking studies have proven this over and over again. We don't read an article word for word like we're curled up with a good book. We skim and scan the page, our eyes darting around looking for keywords, headlines, and anything that looks interesting.
In fact, we tend to scan in a very specific pattern, known as the F-shaped pattern. First, our eyes move across the top of the content, that's the top bar of the F. Then we move down the page a bit, and our eyes move across in a second shorter line. Finally, we just scan down the left side of the content, that's the stem of the F. Once you know this, you can never unsee it, and it's the key to writing a great post.
So, the perfect post is built for that scanning eye. Step 1. You need an amazing headline, under 60 characters, that grabs attention. Step 2. The body has to be scannable. That means short paragraphs, using bolded text for keywords, and lots of lists. Step 3. Use engaging pictures or videos to break up all that text. And Step 4. Use smart links to point people to other useful info. Every single element is there to help the scanner find what they're looking for.
So, we know their history, we know how to write one, but let's be real. In a world of 15-second videos and disappearing social media stories, do blogs even matter anymore? And the answer is absolutely yes, but maybe not for the reasons you'd think.
Think about it like this. Social media is a feed. It's fast, it's fleeting, and it's run by some mysterious algorithm you have zero control over. You're basically just renting space on someone else's platform. A blog, though, a blog is an archive. It is a permanent, searchable library of your ideas that you own and you control. It's a space you build for deeper, more focused thought, away from all the noise.
And that really brings us to the final big question. As our digital lives get faster and louder and more chaotic, is the humble blog actually more important than ever? In this world of endless scrolling, is it the last great space we have to carve out a quiet, thoughtful corner of the internet for ourselves? It's definitely something to think about.